I will build a tiger tank.
Oh, how original.
And it will be a Michael Wittman's tiger.
Daring today, aren't we?
Welcome back. Today we start the build of Tiger Tank from Takom. First thing that welcomes us in the box is this big manual, as well as these sprues with tracks. Also we can see that we have metal barrel included, that is always a welcome addition. Next thing is this sprue with big Michael Wittman. He is in 1/16 scale, so it will not fit into our tank, so I guess in the future I will have to get another tiger in 1/16 for this guy. As you can see, there are a lot of sprues. The reason for it is that this model is very detailed, and also Takom allows you to build different variants, so you have multiple options. For example, 2 front plates with different zippered patterns. Same thing with gun mantlet, 3 different versions to choose from. Also we have BS truck guide teeth. I really did not enjoy attaching them to the tracks. We also have small Wittman that will actually fit into the tank. This thing is a track rig to form a proper sack of tracks around the sprocket, the hull and the turret. Even through plastic wrap I can see that it is very detailed. The photo etch sheet is only this antenna and engine mesh, and I really appreciate that there aren't any complicated metal parts. Metal barrel. We will not have to worry about lining up the seam line like with plastic ones. Copper wire for towing cables. Clear sprue with visors if you want to build a see-through periscopes. Decal sheet with numbers, bright colors and crisp prints. I wonder how they will fit onto the model. I recently learned that in some countries they actually censor the insignia on decal number 10 and 11. They actually sell them with decals covered with permanent marker. Same thing on the box art. At least that's what I've seen on some Facebook modeling group. If that's true and they really censor the decals, well, that's cringe. And the manual for the tank itself. I really like Takom instruction manuals. They are very nicely made with high quality paper. Although this method of putting track guide teeth did not work for me. Some steps in the manual are doubled with little differences for building the command tank version. There are no indication of which step is which version though. Even though this is a regular model without the interior, the manual shows us that we will build a lot of interior details, such as the gun bridge with gunner optics and seats for loader and commander. And the painting guides. 007 tank is the one that Wittman fought his last battle in. The tank was destroyed 8th of August in 1944 in France. We also have painting guides for other Wittman Tigers, but I've chosen the 007 already. Alright, first steps are the radiators. It's surprising that Takom have included such details that will probably not be visible on finished models. The radiators go into the tank hull. The suspension have a small flaw. I guess I can call it a flaw. Otherwise I would have to admit that I was just being stupid, so I prefer not to do that and just blame the model. As you can see, the suspension can fit pointing upwards, and I could really not understand it. Only after a couple minutes I realized that Tiger is another tank that is not symmetrical. On the right side they go to the rear, and on the left side they go towards the front. After figuring out the suspension, I've decided to mount the millions of wheels. Then I've tackled the tracks to have it out of my head. I've done as the manual says, glue the teeth without cutting it off the sprue for easy fitment. It didn't really want it to line up properly. Long and flimsy parts are always a headache. When I tried to cut it off the sprue, it fell out. I don't have any further footage of the track assembly, but that's fortunate because I've messed them up and I've replaced them later. So, in the manual some steps are doubled where you are supposed to choose which one you will follow. It is for making a specific version of the tank. Sadly, there is no indication which step is which tank version. Also, for the front armor, Mr. Takom wants us to use G5 part, but nothing stops us if we prefer the G4 part Zimmered pattern more. Assembly of the rear plate is started by drilling a set of holes. Then I've put all the parts into the set of holes to make the complete part. Of course, the exhaust studs started to break, so I've tried to fix it with cement. Then the rear plate snaps into the hole. Then the plate snaps into the hole. Which brings us to the side armor. Surprisingly, it attached without any gaps, so there was no need for putty or sprue glue. Even the thin plastic pre-molded wire attached without breaking. Now the whole MG. Normal manufacturer will just give us simple barrel to put inside the hole, but Takom gives us proper machine gun with receiver, ammunition and gun sight. I've assembled it, but I paid no attention to it because it will not be visible at all. As we can see, the front of the tank starts looking like a Tiger tank. Next step, I started working on the engine deck, starting with engine cover. Then was the photo etch grills attached with small amount of CA glue. The engine meshes were then detailed by bending in the wires inside with the back of the hobby knife. And also they received some holes to add to the worn look. Next step was to build up the towing cable and then attach it onto the deck, wrapping it around the clasp. Also the rest of the tools was attached, like this towing hook. I was just about to connect the deck with hole, but some bullshit happened and I broke off one of the exhaust tip. Of course it bent. The plastic was unrecoverable. So unwillingly I've replicated it with 0.4mm wire. The head of the exhaust was drilled out and studs were secured with CA glue. Of course not without my favorite mental gymnastics. I drilled out the exhaust itself and fixed the tip. I could get back to work on the hole. Like this driver visor that was made workable so you can open or close it. After all that, it was time to connect the deck with the hole. It fits almost correctly. Almost, because there are some gaps, so I decided to glue it and convince it to fit with some gumki recepturki. So I've left it to stay like that and did some other things. Like building this set of workable Tiger tracks from RFM. I decided that I am not happy with link style tracks, so I've recovered all the wheels and drive sprockets and started the assembly of new tracks. This small rig allows you to align the tracks and connect them with pins. And the segment of these tracks is actually working. Thanks to the magic of editing, we are done in no time. After hours of building the tracks, I've attached the tracks to the tank. The test fitting shows that 96 links are way too long. I've changed the length to the 93 links. 93 looks much better. So yeah, the lower part is ready. Time for the turret. I decided to leave the turret hatches open. I've drilled out the hinges to fit the copper wire through it. Then I've repeated the same thing on the hatch itself. All this to make the hatch workable, so now we can open and close it. Next thing was to make interior details that will not be visible at all. So similarly to the whole machine gun, I've assembled it without much care and cleaning, starting with main gun breech. I have to be honest, the level of details is insane for a kit that does not have an actual interior. I mean, check this out. I am mounting here the front turret armor, and behind it there is fully modeled gun breech, machine gun and gunner optics, as well as the seats for commander and loader. The turret roof receives the commander hatch. Then the turret is closed, hiding all that interior details to never be seen again. Metal barrel slides inside without any problems. Now the muzzle brake. So we are almost at the finish line. To make the fenders look cooler, I'm gonna add some damage and dents or outright remove them. I took the whole assembly and cut them out in separate pieces while cleaning and sanding the cuts. Then with help of fire and heat, I've melted the plastic and used it to make folds, dents and other kind of crash thin metal fenders. If you want to make something like that in your model, just pay attention if the whole part has not warped too much, or it will not fit the hole. Those are the results. Looks like driver has run through many obstacles on his way. The additional antenna with spider web on top did not want it to work with plastic, so I've replaced it with wire. I hate working with thin and fiddly metal parts, so I cope that it is weathered, distressed and battle damaged with those bands. And it does not really fit the model. The manual shows that there should be a big hole for it. Guess I've missed it somehow. So I've mounted the biggest drill I've had and started drilling. And then I've cut out the hole with hobby knife until it fits properly. Another cool thing about this kit is that we got bonus sprue with helmets, buckets, gas canisters and barrels. So I've built the canisters and mounted the bucket onto the tank. And while I was at it, I've noticed that there was a big gap in tank hull. Yeah, not the best time to notice something like this while I was supposed to finish the model. Nonetheless, I've put some sprue glue into the gaps. I will sand it down with sanding sponge later, when the plastic dries. Now I wanted to do something stupid, like a mount for gas canisters. I've took this styrene and carved out the wood texture with hobby knife, all around it. The cast was smoothed out with cement. The result was this piece of old wooden plank. Then I've took these loops from my spare parts stash and mounted it onto the tank together with planks. The canister is gonna go onto the plank itself, like this. Nice detailed Takom ones on the outside and old ugly Tamiya ones inside. Now we have to secure them or they will fall off. So there comes the aber with set of klamerki do pasków I sprzączki. I decided to make simple buckle with part 16 and 11. I've took the micro parts and cut it out of the photo etched sheet. Then I've bent the buckle to the correct shape. Next step was to make a strap from Tamiya tape. It was literally impossible to properly show on video how I've wrapped the strap onto the buckle. So I've put the canisters and connected the buckle. Don't mind the length of the straps, it will be corrected in the painting stage. This is more like tasting a concept. I've roughly attached some tarps and other parts from my stash onto the tank. And it was good time to open the MG ammo boxes from my favorite EMP parts. I used 2 ammo boxes onto the tank, one on the engine deck and another on the turret. Now I've put the tank on the side and decided to make some tarps, because I feel like I haven't done that in a while. I took the 2 ingredients and started to mix it. Then I've added some powder before rolling it into a thin tarp. As you can see, the creatine is not only a good supplement for gym, it is also a great tool to roll the epoxy putty. Then I've cut the putty into smaller parts and began shaping it onto the tank. I was helping myself with silicone brush moistened in water. The goal here is to have cool and interesting folds. Same here on the engine deck. By the way, now you can see the tarp edge is covering the less detailed Tamiya canisters, leaving the cool ones visible. And here we are. The building stage is finished. Don't mind the tracks, they are not connected because model will be painted soon. What I can say, very cool and detailed kit. I highly recommend it. Now this will be some different format. This was the build video, next one will be a crew painting video, and then I will post the tank painting video. I'm still experimenting with YouTube. First I've been posting separate videos for building and painting. Then I started to post one complete video, but overall it was less detailed to not make it too long and a chore to watch. Please share with me in the comments which format you prefer. 2 videos per model with building and painting, or one complete video. As for the model, Really, let's be honest here. You've seen the level of details of this kit. The parts are very good quality. There was almost no problems in the build. The kit tracks are also very good. I've only messed them up due to my skill issue. And the price is very attractive, especially considering the fact that Takom is very often on discounts. For example, I've got the Tiger Box edition with 2 Tigers for half a price. In my opinion, one of the best Tiger models on the market you can get. Really worth the consideration. Now I'm gonna disassemble it for painting and see you soon in the next video where I will be painting the crew for this tank.